Everything. The whole meal balanced well.
Yeah.
Everything complemented everything else.
Struggling over this little bit of
And you couldn't do it unless you.
Close to 2 years ago, I took the civil service exam.
Business used to be, and he realized, even when he was still in.
Loose Soloff was.
The band name for Barbara and Michael is the New Middle Class.
No, actually it's New Middle Class.
Sorry, no, the New Middle Class. When did that name come about? When did the band form under that name?
Sometime in the 80s, perhaps?
I think during the Reagan era.
It was kind of a joke for me on the downward mobility of the middle class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had just gotten past our rock band, and then we kind of went into more of a solo phase.
But
Well, I mean, we reached a point with our rock band that that the drummer and the bass player kind of moved away, and we moved away, and we didn't have a chance to really be working in that context. And then Barbara never likes loud music anyway. She wants to be like the center of attention, and so she likes it with a little acoustic guitar backing.
I think it had to do with the fact that we all of a sudden were in a house, and we didn't want to go anywhere. We wanted to practice in our house, and acoustic music just really fit in with where we were in our lives.
Well, that's what we're telling you. That's what this show is about. We don't want to leave the house.
That's me.
So you'll move in when? I haven't heard any of your lyrics yet. Tell me what kind of songs you write.
I write songs about missed romance, looking back on life, having a good time, whatever kind of comes into my head. My latest group of songs is sort of reflective and thinking about life and our path in life. It sounds really intellectual. It's really what rhymes is what I write about, so if I can come up with a decent rhyme.
Okay. Well, isn't all music reflective?
No, I don't think so. I think some music is just about the moment. And actually, who was I talking to about this? That rock and baseball are the same because everybody's constantly looking back at the heyday of rock. There's a Rock Hall of Fame. There's all this vintage gear and all this stuff. And when rock and roll first started, it was about, I want to get in my car and go out with my girl, and I just want to have a good time. It was all of the moment. It was not really supposed to last very long. So I think at different times, music is reflective or not. And I think at different ages, when you make music at different ages, it's also, when you're young and you're making music, it's about, this is what I want right now.
I think right now. Yeah, very immediate.
So.
And now it's like, well, why did I do that?
The second or the third stage. First you have the in the moment, then you have the looking back, then you have the regret.
Yeah. This song is a self-deception about a self-serving deception. In other words, it's a lie about a lie.
I know that you did nothing to deserve this, and loving me was the mistake that you made. You thought that I was everything you wanted, and now you feel so betrayed. I only had the best of intentions. I hope you don't believe that I'm insincere. I only wanted to express the emotions I thought that you wanted to hear. I'll always love you, and I'll never leave you. Baby, don't cry, 'cause it's the truest kind of lie. I guess I only felt your love's reflection. I'm not the kind of girl who gets carried away. And all I have is what remains of the affection that's here in my heart when I say that I'll always love you and I'll never leave you. Baby, don't cry, 'cause it's the truest kind of lie. Sometimes it's hard to find the honest thing to say. I don't understand it. I never planned it this way. Well, maybe I'm afraid of being too revealing. Maybe my behavior is hard to defend. But if you find you lack the tender feelings, is it so cruel to pretend? And you'll always love me. Say you'll forgive me. Baby, don't cry. Tell me the truest kind of lie. Tell it to me clearly. Say it so sincerely. Baby, don't cry. Tell me the truest kind of lie.
When you're getting ready to write, are you afraid what's going to come up?
Well, I don't write really. Mike is the main songwriter, and I critique.
Okay.
So I don't know. Are you afraid of my critiques?
No, you see, that's part of the beauty of the techniques that I like to use. Is a lot of times I will write songs that are from a character's point of view, not necessarily a confessional, kind of Joni Mitchell, James Taylor sort of thing.
Right.
So if I talk about I in the song, it's somebody else, and a lot of times I try to write with a character that's very different from myself. And sometimes you're not so sure how different it is. So this way I can say whatever I want, and if if it rings a bell, oh, I was just a character. And then it's great too because Barbara gets to interpret most of the songs because she sings most of the lead vocals. So then we get her interpretation of my interpretation of some character.
Can you sing his music, his words, and put a spin on it that you don't even know that you're putting on it?
Oh, I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah, especially because a lot of times I have this really dark, nasty undercurrent to what I'm writing about, and
those are the children's songs.
That's right. So you should see my children.
Those are my kids too.
Sorry. Sometimes she either may not be thinking of the song the same way, or she may just not like that particular interpretation, and so she'll sing it, more sweet or straightforward or something like that. So it doesn't always come out the way I had originally envisioned it, but it usually comes out nicely.
Wow. And Emil, you were talking before about struggling sometimes in the work process with like quarters of notes and stuff.
Right.
Have you ever worked with a partner?
I have, yeah. I've done a lot of different things. I've done some film scoring, which is also a different kind of collaborative thing because you're making music, but a filmmaker is just looking for something to underpin their work, so you have to let go of that whole process in that case, you know, you make the music and then you have to let it go because somebody is literally going to take it, chop it up, and use it however they want. So there's that kind of partnership. I did have a band with a writing partner for a while, and I've done some co-writing, but a lot of my stuff is really, I work alone now.
It's not the little things that drive me crazy, that's part of the problem, but not the whole thing. It's not your clothes on the floor, your hair on my toothbrush, although it's true, that's so revolting, but it's deeper than that, deeper than disgust. It feels like love turned upside down. It's a failure of faith, it's a lack of trust, but it's not too late to turn this thing around. We can work it out, we can get through it. Things can only get better, cause they couldn't be worse. It'll be hard, but I know we can do it. Let's change, you go first. Seems like every night we fight these wars. Why do you always take my words and twist them? Some couples are as distant as Venus and Mars, but we're not in the same solar system. Yes, we must have come from two different worlds with different atmospheres, different gravities, different languages and different laws, different customs, different chemistries, but we can work it out, we can get through it. Things can only get better, cause they couldn't be worse. It'll be tough, but I know we can do it. Let's change, you go first. Let's change, you go first.
I suppose we both have our reasons. No one wins, we both lose our shirts.
It's like a card game, you play the jack of demons, and I trump you with the queen of hearts. It's not what you say, it's your tone of voice, it's your insinuations that infuriate me. You insist it's my imagination, and I blame you for blaming me. It's a matter of temper, just a matter of time, until someone does somebody bodily harm. Doesn't matter who's right, it only matters who's madder. Take the hammer, break the glass, pull the fire alarm, but we can work it out, we can get through it. Things can only get better, cause they couldn't be worse. It'll be painful, but I know we can do it. Let's change, you go first. Let's change, you go first. Let's change, you go first. Let's change.
Mike's lyrics are wry and they're witty, and depending on how he works on the music, it can be more serious or more playful sometimes just by the change of the music, or the tempo of the song might change, and that might change the interpretation of what those lyrics are. All those kinds of things all play in.
And the singer.
And the singer.
The singer.
Yeah, the singer, yeah.
So and then I Was Born. That's not the right name of it. What is it called?
I Was Born.
I Was Born, okay.
Mm-hmm.
My very favorite song this week. You know, it starts out and I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing, but when it gets to the end, all of a sudden I realize, you know, this is really very smart. Because everybody is experiencing the world anew when they come into it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you just don't gain that perspective until it's way too late, and even then you can only kind of get a glimmer of it. And it had me thinking that you are very smart people. And my question is, did you do something in the music that made me realize that? Or was that my own intelligence?
Suck up to it.
No, don't suck up to me.
I don't think I can take credit for your deep philosophical thoughts. That song was kind of a present for Barbara in a way. I was talking about writing things from other people's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
That one actually was the story you know, the personal part of it was the story of Barbara's family. So I literally wrote it about her family for her to sing. But the song was also very challenging in terms of the structure for me, because I had the concept of what I wanted to do. You know, it kind of starts out at the beginning of time, and then it kind of turns a corner and surprises you, and all of a sudden, I was born. And in the end of the song, as you were saying, I ended up kind of doing, you know, almost a day in the life kind of thing. We were talking about Beatles before, and how in the day of the life it goes, the orchestra kind of goes up and accelerates and so forth. So I kind of compressed the entire history of the Western Hemisphere into like 23 seconds, and that was kind of fun.
In the beginning, there was no light, there was no day, and there was no night. There was no land, and there was no sea. There was no geography. There was no faith, there was no doubt. There was not much to talk about. There was no sign of the human race. There was no time and there was no space. And then I was born. The sun came out and the birds were singing, and I was born. It's hard to believe it, but I've been told my folks were young before they got old. A lovely girl who danced till dawn with a handsome man in a uniform. They took a loan, they bought a home. A beautiful baby girl was born. They gave her love, they gave her toys, but they wanted another, they wanted a boy. And then I was born, kicking and screaming all through the night. Yes, I was born. Now who would care and who could know about things that happened long ago? All that really matters is me. Brought to its knees. Shakespeare wrote some tragedies, and wars were fought. The bomb was dropped. The forces of history could not be stopped. And then I was born. Angels came and they called my name when I was born. Destined for success and fame. Yes, I was born. And things will never be the same since I was born. I was born.
The reason I did that instrumental album, which is almost all improvised, was to kind of purge the micromanaged thing I had done before. And now my next album, I'm working with a producer, and I'm sort of stepping back from the producing part of the process, and I'm just going to play and sing my songs and let him worry about all the other stuff, and be kind of nice.
I want to hear those vocals. I've listened to your instrumental. What's the name of the CD?
Overtones,
Yeah.
yes.
I've listened to it, and I have to tell you that what happened, I get lost in my own thoughts when I listen to instrumentals. I'm sure they're sparked by your music.
Right.
Do you think you can convey an actual song, full-body story with music alone, without words?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing about overtones is it's actually not designed for conveying a full story. It's really designed to be music that you use while you're doing something else. It's not in-your-face kind of music, but if you listen to, I mean, you know, listen to Beethoven, he certainly conveyed stories. Listen to Miles Davis, kind of blue, certainly conveyed stories. Somebody who can really play a melody can tell a story. And
Yeah, if you take a really common example that everybody knows, which was the whole Fantasia concept.
I don't know it. Tell me.
Movie?
Well, I know of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, what
Well,
happened
that's
is
not as smart as I look sometimes.
well, what happened is Disney chose a bunch of different musical pieces, classical musical pieces, that were so visual in their in their sound that you just couldn't help but picture things when you heard it, and so that he put images to the music, but the music was very was very prone to being able to picture specific things. It was just very he had a very wide color palette, I guess you would say, when you talk about music. Rhythm and melody was like very varied.
right, and then I mean, I guess that's an interesting point too, because the other side of that is, if there's no explicit story in the song, you can bring your own. You were saying you get listen to instrumental music, you get lost in your thoughts.
I get lost in my thoughts,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so-
It puts me in a mood, and one thing will lead to another.
Because it might not have written lyrics, but it could still have a story. It's just not written in the lyrics. So that's what you would use. You would know what the song is about, whether it's setting a mood or a feeling or conveying a place, or I might have a story in my head of what a song is about, without necessarily having to write lyrics for it. I think that the beauty of writing, when you're just writing for yourself, is you have the option of writing instrumentals or lyrically.
But I'm starting to think that maybe you're more special than you think, because I don't see color when I hear music. I don't visualize. My thoughts are more narrative, you know?
It may be more subliminal, you know, for some people than others. You know, as musicians, we're very attuned to exactly what we're hearing.
I can understand, and I think I can identify that when I hear music, I'll see textures, I'll feel textures, you know, the depth of it. For, you know, is this going to be a deep thought, or is it going to be a light and lovely thought? I'll feel that. Color, no. Characters, no. Except for that Peter and the Wolf thing where they told us who the characters were.
Well, that's a good example.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's about as far as my music education went.
But that's something that that Emil must be doing in his soundtracks too. Is that's typically something that you do in soundtrack. Is you have, you know, certain themes for certain characters, for example, or certain locations, and you know, when you're watching a movie, you may not be aware of it, but it's there, and it kind of reinforces the visual.
It has a lot to do with audiences being able to, without thinking about it, pick up on that kind of stuff. And when you write a song with lyrics, the music is supposed to help support whatever the emotion and help the audience know how the singer is trying to interpret the song.
Turn out the light, leave the keys on the table, 'cause I'll be alright. I'm used to the dark. You don't have to say, what a shame we weren't able to relight your fire with my spark. You kiss me goodbye, but it's an air kiss from the doorway. You say you won't cry, and I believe you, I really do. Don't have to say that you're doing this for my sake. You're smarter than that, and I am too. You don't give me a reason that I can accept. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. Sounds like something you got from some movie scene, and I don't know what you mean. gentle with the door, 'cause I'll hear that sound forever. The click of the lock and your steps down the hall. Don't have to say that you still care, that you'll be there, 'cause everyone is somewhere after all. You don't give me a reason that I can accept. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. Sounds like something you prepared, something you read somewhere you thought would play well for your big farewell. Well, turn out the light and good night.
I have one song which I'm also going to spare you guys of today because it's very long, but it's like a 3-page poem, and and I do it when I perform it. It's called Mirror, and the idea of the song is it's sung from the point of view of the mirror. So it's like it's the idea of your mirror looking at you and seeing everything that you don't see about yourself. It sees you with your back turned. It sees what's in your eyes, and
whether you choose to look at it or not.
yeah, and it's it's like I am your mirror, baby. I see what you don't see, and
Is it
it's
a good mirror or a bad mirror?
it's whatever. It's both. It doesn't have any power over you. It's kind of sees through you in this song, but to convey that song, the music really stays in one place. It's like one chord. It's there's a Muddy Waters blues song called "I've Been a Fool" that's just one chord, one riff, and it's so simple and it stays. The music stays in one place, and the lyrics take you on this story, and so it's the opposite of writing an instrumental kind of thing where the music moves, or something where the music moves and the lyrics don't move. And if you can kind of go back and forth between the two things, you have sort of total freedom to find what's right for what you're trying to say at the moment.
So you have that freedom in your writing. Who would be your favorite audience?
Anybody who'll listen. And I know that sounds phony or whatever, but it's really true because the longer I play music, the more I'm interested in really reaching everyone. When I was younger and I was starting out, I really wanted to impress my fellow peers, my other songwriters, impress the other guitar players, and spend all this time trying to impress everybody, and you impress them, and then you don't have an audience because you're spending all your time.
Right.
It's like what we're talking about.
Musician.
You're being a musician for other musicians, whereas we were talking about independent music earlier, and Mike, I think Mike and I have known each other a long time, and we've heard each other's work for a long time, and you kind of, instead of it being a community about selling records or impressing your peers, it's just writing about life.
I've known love and I've known pain, and I know that sometimes they're one and the same. There's a light in your window, can I come to your door? I've blown all my chances, can I have one more? know I'm human with all the flaws of a man. I ask you forgive me, and I pray you can. There's a light in your window, can I come to your door? I've blown all my chances, can I have one more? I loved you and I love you, and I will love you for life. You're more than a friend or a lover or a wife. There's a light in your window, can I come to your door? I've blown all my chances, can I have one more?
Who would be your favorite audience?
Anybody who's performed for an audience knows that that thing that they say about how energy comes back from the audience is just, you know, it's so true. And so when you get in front of an audience and you play and you're communicating, and you know, whether it just be instrumentally and you can tell everybody is kind of bouncing along in the same rhythm, or whether, you know, or whether the audience is laughing at the funny lines or sobbing at the heart-rending lines, you know, it magnifies everything. And so that's the kind of audience that's my audience, is an audience that really is focusing on what we're doing and appreciative of the things that we do differently than everybody else.
Well, you're going to have that audience tonight, and we've got like 1 more minute to wrap this up. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to be asked, that you studied for?
Other than if I like another cup of tea now, I'm ready for my next cup of tea.
And I think we're saying goodbye. Yes? Ta-da? Bye-bye. It's been nice.